Hey everybody, Jake here from CVP, and welcome to our July 2022 edition of Quick Kit. Links to everything we mentioned will be down in the description below. Let's get into it. Sony has just released version 2 firmware for the FX3, which features some seriously awesome additions and changes. First is log shooting mode. This allows you to shoot in 3 different modes: Cine-EI, Cine-EI Quick, and Flexible ISO when recording in S-Log 3. S-Log 2 has been removed from the camera too. Next, you can now ingest up to 16 user LUTs into the FX3. You can bake these into your recorded image or just use a monitor LUT. With the new VMC BNC M1 adapter cable, you can now use the USB on the camera to jam timecode. Next is the new list style main menu system. This is a new layout for the main menu which gives fast access to key video menu items. Standby movie screen puts all settings around your image, similar to Venice's EVF layout, so you have a full view of your frame and settings at the same time without obstructing your frame at all. Metadata and autofocus have also seen updates, as well as a bunch more. If you want to learn more or download the firmware for yourself, you can via Sony's website, the link to which is in the description below. Blackmagic has been as busy as ever, releasing some new hardware as well as some software. The biggest announcement from them has to be the introduction of the ATEM SDI range. The ATEM mini series has been massively popular because of its combination of features and price point. However, the ATEM mini series is limited to HDMI only. That's where the SDI versions come in. They offer similar levels of inputs and outputs compared to the mini, but with 3G SDI options. There are 3 versions in this new family of products: the ATEM SDI, ATEM SDI Pro ISO, and ATEM SDI Extreme ISO. The Extreme has the most features and SDI inputs and outputs, and the SDI is the most basic, but also the most affordable. If you want to learn more, check out Blackmagic's site, which fully details the differences between the 3 switches. The second product released from Blackmagic was the DeckLink Mini Recorder HD and Monitor HD. Both feature 3G SDI and HDMI inputs or outputs depending on which one you get. The recorder will allow you to capture directly into a range of programs in a few different formats, whereas the monitor allows for the output of up to 1080p 60. They are both pretty reasonably priced at just £150 each, and could be a handy little solution for some productions. They also released updates for both B-RAW and their Video Assist monitors. This means you can now record and edit B-RAW captured externally from the Fujifilm X-H2S. It also includes a range of improvements for a few of Panasonic's cameras when it comes to adjusting and accuracy of white balance. Resolve 18 is also finally out of beta and has been fully released now, which brings tons of new features from the beta, but in a more stable release. It's available to download now via Blackmagic's site via the link down below. Canon has released a bunch of new firmware for the R series of cameras. Canon's flagship R3 has seen a range of improvements, but there are definitely a few standouts. The camera can now capture 30 FPS all the way up to 195 FPS at full res in RAW, HEIF or JPEG. That's insane, and it scares me how fast you could eat through a card at 190 frames per second in RAW. The option to toggle a crop mode via one of the assignable buttons has also been added, which could be handy for sports or wildlife photographers wanting to crop in quickly while shooting. When it comes to video, the camera can now capture Full HD up to 239.76 frames per second, has had a new time-lapse mode added, and features a new auto power off temp option. The R5 has seen the same auto power off temp function added, which should improve its ability to record video without overheating. We haven't tested this for ourselves yet, but from the videos that I've seen people posting online already, it looks like this is a very good addition for many people who already own and use the R5 for video. Let us know if you've had a chance to test this out for yourself in the comments. The R5, R3 and R6 have all seen a tweak to the digital movie IS function, which should help correct the wobble that you can experience when shooting with wide-angle lenses, as some people have complained about with these cameras. The R6's changes are a bit more minor. Here's the list that Canon have provided for it. Canon have also released new firmware for the XF605. Details are down in the description below for that. Canon also announced 2 new RF mount full-frame lenses, the 24mm f1.8 macro and 15-30 f4.5 to 5.6. It's great to see some more budget-friendly options for RF mount come out from Canon, as the L series lenses, while excellent, are on the pricier side. Both lenses are IS STM lenses, which means they feature 5 stops of optical image stabilization built in, as well as quiet and fast autofocus motors. The 24mm features an assignable control ring, 9-blade iris, a close focus of 14cm, and only weighs 270 grams. The 15-30 does have a variable aperture and is quite slow. but it is also compact, weighs only 390 grams, and comes in at a good price of £670. SmallRig has announced a few new products recently. First off is their new multifunctional modular matte box. This matte box seems to have a pretty decent ecosystem of accessories around it, which at its price point is pretty great to see. It can handle both 4x4 and 4x5.65 filters, and while it comes as standard as a single stage, it can actually be turned into a 3-stage with the addition of the filter frame kit. It can be clamped onto 114mm diameter lenses as standard, but there is also a range of adapters for different diameter lenses. The kit also comes with a range of screw-on adapter rings if you'd rather mount it this way. It can also be supported with the use of the included 15mm bracket, which would be good for more sturdy rigs with more filters being used. You can also use the backstage with the 2-stage adapter without using the actual matte box, which results in a super lightweight way to use filtration. There are options for top and side flags with different kits, and they also introduced a variable ND filter kit. This can be used with their tray manually or via a motor. Overall, the kit looks really great considering the price that it's at. But of course, I want to get my hands on it first before making any recommendations. If you want to learn more, head over to SmallRig's site via the link in the description. They also released 2 new mini V-mount batteries, a 50Wh and 99Wh. They both feature a DTAP output, an 8V DC and 12V DC output, as well as a USB-C and USB-A port. The USB-C output is capable of handling up to 45 watts, so it can handle some PD fast charging duties. They have more outputs than some others at their price point, but the price actually surprised me, as SmallRig is usually quite aggressive with its pricing, and when compared to other popular budget-friendly V-locks, they are more on the pricier side. I'm looking forward to testing these in the flesh though, so we can form a proper opinion about them. DZO has released 2 new focal lengths to their VESPID Prime series of cinema primes, a 21mm T2.1 and 40mm T2.1. Specs-wise, they are very similar to the rest of the set. That means the same gear placement, 46.5mm image circle, and consistent image character. This now brings the set to 10 focal lengths, which is pretty comprehensive. I really like using 40mm focal length lenses, and there aren't many other budget-focused cinema prime sets with a 40mm option in their set, so this is awesome to see. Fingers crossed we get to check these out ASAP. DZO released a whole new series of lenses after I'd recorded this, so this is a pickup talking about those new lenses. These are the DZO Gnosis Macro Cine Primes, which currently consists of a 32mm, 65mm and 90mm, all of which are T2.8. They each have different magnification factors and close focuses. They all have a rated image circle of 46.5mm, feature a 300-degree focus rotation, 16 blade irises, 114mm front diameters, and come as LPL as standard. They will be priced at roughly £5,450 per lens, but they will also be available in a kit. That may sound expensive, but there aren't that many new full-frame true cine macro options on the market. However, there are plenty of still options. Whether these justify their price will come down to their performance, which I can't wait to see. Laowa has released 2 new lenses this month, the 10mm f4 cookie lens for APS-C cameras and 12-24mm f5.6 for full-frame mirrorless mount cameras. The 10mm is a tiny pancake-style lens for APS-C mirrorless cameras. What makes it unique is its 10mm focal length and rectilinear design, as well as it being super tiny. It also has a fully manual design, and with Laowa's history of making awesome lenses, I'm sure this one will perform excellently. It's also really well priced at just £340, making it quite an affordable lens for people looking at something like this. The 12-24mm is Laowa's latest ultra-wide zoom, and while it is a touch slower than some other ultra-wide options on the market, it's also very affordable, light and compact compared to faster options in this focal range. It has an internal zoom design, a decent close focus of 15cm and a consistent f5.6 aperture throughout its zoom range. Both lenses are designed for mirrorless mount cameras, which means they're available in a range of common mounts. Right, let's get into our quick-fire honourable mentions. Links to details about these are in the description below. Laxtoon has released their latest flagship wireless video system, the CineView SE. Anton Bauer has added the option for B-mount to their Dionic 26V series of batteries and chargers. Angelbird has introduced a V90 512GB SD card, as well as a V60 512GB and 1TB SD card option. Arri has released Last 2 for the Orbiter, which adds 3 new modes, as well as a bunch more. Atomos has announced the Sumo 19 SE, a 19-inch 8-bit plus FRC QLED touchscreen monitor. which has a resolution of 1920 by 1080, a peak brightness of 1200 nits, and can record ProRes RAW up to 6K 30p, as well as featuring a really comprehensive set of I/O. Canon TV has announced their new telescopic portable jib. DJI has released a new firmware for the Mini 3 Pro. FX Line announced the Atto 1, which is essentially a power bank aimed at filmmakers. Godox has released some new Scrim flag kits. Hollyland announced 2 new Lark M1 wireless audio kits. iFootage released their new line of anglerfish lights. IRIX has released a new super resistant version of their Edge Square filters. Insta360 has announced the One RS, which features 2 1-inch sensors capable of capturing 6K 360 degree video. Mica has announced 2 new lenses, the 16mm t2.5 as part of their full-frame cine lens lineup, and 10mm f2 for APS-C cameras. Nanlite released the 150B, a bicolour mid-output fixture addition to their Forza line of Cob LED fixtures. Panasonic has released firmware version 2 for the GH6, and this brings the ability to record ProRes RAW in DCI 4K up to 120 frames per second, or 5.7K up to 60 FPS with the Ninja 5 Plus, as well as the addition of ProRes 422 and 42HQ recording modes in DCI 4K and Full HD internally. Red has released 1.3.1 beta firmware for the V-Raptor, which brings a range of improvements and fixes. SmallRig has released beta version 1 of its Page OS 5. Siriu announced addition of 4 new Super 35 1.33x mirrorless mount anamorphic lenses. Shape has released a range of new video tripods. Sony has released the ECM G1, compact shotgun microphone that uses Sony's MI shoe to communicate with compatible cameras. Tilta has shown off their new modular advanced wooden camera handles, and lastly, Wooden Camera has released a range of new lens supports for the V-Raptor, as well as a new cradle for the Teradek Bolt LT-RX. If you enjoyed this, please make sure to subscribe ready for next month's quick kit. Let us know what your favourite bit of kit to come out this month is in the comments below. And thank you so much for watching.